Alright folks, what's the crack? Welcome back to another episode of Meet the Members, where we have the chance to sit down with and get to know some of the incredible people who call Ormo Bass their business home. This is long-time resident Gary Davidson. Really looking forward to getting to know Gary a bit more. You've been here for a while, mate.
I have been. I think it's about four years now, nearly. Yeah.
That's great.
In different careers, so it's all over the place.
I always feel like you're like one of the OGs. That's only because like you were around whenever I came. Do you know what I mean?
Back in the day, now with grey hair.
That's awesome. So, talk to me a wee bit about your love of golf.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the love of golf has just happened.
Right.
So we're talking maybe 6 months in.
This is a worldwide exclusive.
This is
today.
yeah, absolutely shocking. That no, I'm okay. I'm all right. So my dad started playing years ago. He retired from the fire brigade. He has a lot of time now. Went out golfing, and he's asked me multiple times, and I've been like, no, absolutely no chance. Like, I don't think I'd like it.
You were against it?
I was totally against it.
Why? Just the vibe?
Just the vibe. Didn't think I have the patience for it. Whatever. Went out with dad and went, this is incredible.
What?
I hit one good shot. That was it, and we're just coming back straight away. Yeah, exactly. But just it was more like spending time with my dad for 4 hours, and we get to do it nearly every week together. And now I've realised that loads of people are terrible at golf as well, but love going out and just spending that time. So I think it's more the social side that I love, just getting really deep conversations with someone. But then, like, there's so much room for error in golf. Like, you freaking sneeze and it's gone. Like, you know, it's anything. So I think it's because you can just keep learning, and you can get worse, you can get better, and you get outside in the fresh air. It's just awesome.
You've sold it to me, like, because a lot of
Do you
my
golf?
mates know.
Okay,
like,
well, we're going to golf soon.
Yeah, a lot of my mates are like, you know, we're all like coming into our 30s, and so like people are like looking at different things that they used to, and like some of my best mates on the planet are getting into golf, and I'm like, no, there's no way. And the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, 4 hours outside, slow cooked conversations. This is quite nice.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, you know, you and I occupy like pretty digital environments, and like the more and more we get into this, the more I think you have an appetite just to like get away from it.
Yeah, get away from that screen, get away from Zoom, get away from everything. So the next thing is we're gonna go golfing. You're gonna love it, and that's it. I'm gonna convert you next.
My compromise, and this is what I pitched to my mates. I'm like, look, I'm more than happy to caddy.
Okay.
Like honestly, like,
you'd be a great caddy.
I'm there for the walk. I'm there for the banter. I'm there for the
yeah.
emotional support. But like, not really into the actual golfing itself.
You will. I thought the same thing. You'll be fine.
Okay.
We'll do it soon. I promise you.
When did you realise that you had the superpower of being a connector?
Oh wow, I love that. Yeah, so my original job was very much in sales. So I started off in Next.
Good training ground.
Selling sofas to everyone.
Brilliant.
Their grannies, their mums, their dads, whatever. I just loved it.
Class.
Sitting on a sofa saying, what fabric do you love? And just selling them everything.
Swatch.
Just everything. Yeah, there was actually one time that we lay down on a sofa. Me and someone on the sofa started to rub the fabrics and stuff. This was a totally strange thing to me. My manager walks past and was like, what on earth is going on here? But she bought like 10 sofas.
You're like, bro, make the sale.
Yeah, exactly. Bought 10 sofas for
ABC, always be closing, bro.
Exactly. So I think, like, you know, from that mindset of selling and how can I help people get something, kind of has transitioned into kind of my career. So after that, I went into R&D tax credit world. Had no clue about tax, no idea.
Sure.
But I just know, meet someone, sell them the dream, sell them something.
Yeah.
But also, how can I actually help that person? So a lot of the time, I would have been like going into a conversation, no clue about tax, but saying, okay, you're a startup doing X, Y, and Z. I can connect you to this person or that person and expect nothing in return.
Yeah.
Nothing in return. Never absorb, never just kind of rinse people of contacts. It's just saying, how can I actually help you get to the next level?
Nice.
And that just kind of spiraled, and then I met so many different people to the fact where if someone came to me and said, I need something in X, Y, and Z, I would know at least someone.
Yeah.
And then it's that piece of you've connected them, something happens, they change the world, they do whatever, and you've played a small, tiny part of that.
Yeah.
So I think more people have to have that mindset of, you know, it's not always about what I get out of this. It's just, I'm here to help another human being.
Sure.
Everybody needs a helping hand sometime. Like, you know, you can't can't do everything on your own. There is some evil people out there that will absorb contacts or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, you know, for me, it's just always being true and just saying, I'm here to help and expect nothing in return. Because everything will just come back in some shape or form or with whatever.
Yeah. Where does that come from? Like you seem to be like a real solutions guy.
Yeah.
You get a real kick out of that.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets a kick out of that.
Yeah, it's probably comes from my mum, to be honest. So my mum's always like, okay, what's happening in the house? What's wrong? How do we sort this? Like 1, 2, 3, that kind of step process. She's an accountant. And actually used to be a policewoman as well. At the same time, both two like jobs, incredible. And yeah, I think it's very much came from her. Like my dad's like just laid back, you know, doesn't care. Like he'll just go with the flow, and that's great. Like that's absolutely fine. But mum's always
doesn't care, but was also like in a very service-based role for us.
Yeah, like being a fireman, 100%. Like just diving straight in. But like mum has always been, you know, if we have something we need to solve, you know, if it's a family crisis or you know it's anything, it's like the facts. And I think I've kept that on, and I do that with my own missus as well. You know, if there's something happening in the house, it's like, okay, you've done something horrible, let's figure it out. Or I've done something horrible, let's figure it out. So exactly. I think, you know, thinking logically and, you know, going through things is a great way to think. And to be fair, it transfers into startups as well, you know, because they're thinking 900,000 things at once. We need to get from 1 to 6 million. It's just like, how do we get from A to B as a simple step? And when you break it down like that and tell something that, they're like, oh wow, like I just need to think like that. And loads of people don't. And it's, for me, that's the way I think in my head. It's like, okay, I want to get to X, how do we get there? Just think logically.
It's interesting, like before having this conversation, I never really would have seen how your sales experience worked, but like it all is a journey, isn't it? Like whether it's the granny coming in to get a new sofa, like there is a very clear sort of like A to B.
Yeah.
A solution in the middle of all that, and your goal is to like facilitate that transformational journey.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like it's interesting.
It is, and it's brilliant how like I never appreciated. I hated working in retail. I hated my manager, you know, pushing me whatever. Like I did, and that's like I'm open and honest about that. But like, you know, the fundamental skills that I learned of just approaching someone in a sofa shop who I had no clue it is, and just learning about their life, their family, whatever, and then trying to find, okay, this sofa will fit you, or this will fit, or whatever in your room, and that kind of stuff. So it is kind of like, you know, that solution based, as you say, how do we figure stuff out? But I never appreciated those fundamentals that I learnt of doing that until I've got a little bit older. To now, I do appreciate it, thinking that really, you know, I don't care who I speak to now. I'll go up to anyone, doesn't matter if they're role or level or whatever. I know I can have a conversation with them, and that has came from working in this, which is so weird to say, but yeah, it's, you know, everybody has to start somewhere.
Love it, man. I mean, you've been really plugged in to the tech ecosystem in Northern Ireland, and actually much broader, let's say realistically probably over the last 4 years. How do you go about kind of in a post-pandemic world, for lack of a better term, like getting those brush the shoulder opportunities, passing as we did in the olden days, like the business cards and then getting the coffees? Has that become a lot more digital than it used to be, and what does that actually look like these days? Yeah,
so I think obviously we went through that horrible time together. You know, it's definitely first of all brought us closer to our inner family, which was great. But from a business side of things, it's, you know, people are still doing virtual side of things. You know, startups are getting to chat to people in San Francisco and all this kind of stuff. There's a more openness to do the virtual capacity. Before it was like, you have to be at me, you have to come see me, we have to go for lunch, we have to go play golf, which is fine. If you're not on the golf course, I don't care about you. Yeah, pretty much. And that's
whereas now it's like AirPods, it's like, I'm going to be second on your signature.
Pretty much. So yeah, like I think, you know, there's a place for the virtual capacity, especially in tech. You know, especially, you know, in what I work in for investors, you know, it has to be virtual, you know, if they're across or whatever, but everybody is coming back now, and it's a great thing to see, to get people out there, to have those conversations. And like for us being in Northern Ireland, you know, it's not even that long to get on a plane and go to London and just meet those. Like I was in London last week, there was tons of investors and startups and founders that I met on Zoom. It's just like, right, I'm coming for a week. Let's go for dinner. Let's even just go for a walk. Let's go for a coffee, whatever. I think more people need to embrace that, and especially since and we've talked about this before, like, you know, being a very small country,
yeah.
we need to get outside, we need to just get on a plane, go talk to new people, because you never know what's going to happen. Absolutely. You can still have that from a virtual capacity, but I think it's still a little bit scripted per se, which I don't like, because it's like, I wait for you to talk, then I talk. There's none of that kind of like in and out piece.
There's no organic interruption.
No,
like what I just did to you there, it doesn't translate over Zoom at all, because it just comes across really rude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you flip the laptop down.
Exactly. I remember an old mentor of mine, like, giving me some advice a few years ago, and he was saying, like, you know what, mate, like, just book the trip and go.
Yeah.
And then literally email people that you want to meet and be like, hey, I just so happen to be in town, like, on a Wednesday, like, are you free? And he says, like, you'd be surprised how many people you can actually get meetings with.
Well, that's it. Like, I went to San Francisco just before COVID. I knew no one. Like, no one. I just reached out to a load of people on LinkedIn, didn't care, played the whole I'm Irish card, just went for it.
Which is a good card.
Yeah, it was a great card. But, like, I met so many people willing to give their time. And I think, you know, from the world of startups and being in that, there's a lot of people that are scared to ask, that are scared to go out of that kind of comfort zone of, you know, I'll travel down to Lurgan, I'll travel to here or Lisburn or whatever, but they won't just get out there and reach out. What, like, you know, my kind of mindset is I've nothing to lose. Person says no, that's fine, move on. Or they might say no, but introduce you to someone else. You'll never know unless you ask that question. So I think it's just kind of getting out there a little bit more now.
Cool. New job, talk to me.
Yeah, so it's an interesting job, so it is. And I've just hired a new start to kind of take over my Northern Irish role as well. So I work for a company called Technician. We help founders all across the UK kind of scale through programs, peer-to-peer networking, being that kind of dot connector piece, that connector piece that we chatted about. So my role is dominantly to help companies all across the UK raise investments. So if you come to me and say,
"Man, we love you," you're everybody's favorite guy.
But that's also tough in certain like time. So if a company's coming to raise a couple of $100,000 or a couple of million or whatever it is, you know, I'll come in, I'll work with the founder, you know, strip it back to those kind of fundamentals of ABC, what are we trying to do and where are we trying to get to, and then connect them to UK investors, US investors, just across the board. And we are in a great position because we take nothing. So we're just there to help the founders get to the next level. It is.
How are you guys funded?
So we're funded through the Department of Culture, Media and Sports. So in essence, it is government funded. We do have a little bit of commercial side from some sponsors, the likelihoods of Barclays and EY and those types of guys. Nice. But dominantly the majority of stuff is not for profit, which is great because we're just giving back to the ecosystem to help.
Wow. Do your mum and dad be proud of that? That's
From next to that.
Imagine that. Like, I work for a non-profit tech company. That's epic. Like, so 63 was the last number when we were chatting.
63
million you've helped raise.
Yeah, it's went up a wee bit more, but
that's what I mean.
It's
going up.
It's going up, and
that's gotta be a cool feeling.
It is awesome.
You know the way, like, in like on like people's fridges, they've got like wee thermometers or something, or like wee like savings goals. Yeah. It's like, do you have like I want to in my career help people raise X amount?
To be honest, it was like $1 million at the start. Like, it was like, so if I can get over $1 million, that was like crazy money in my head. But one of the first deals I got involved in was like 6.5 million, which was amazing. But like, you know, it's just helping in any shape or form. So some of those kind of raises can just be, you know, helping the founder, being that sounding board, saying who's a good investor, who's a bad investor. You know, maybe I did connect them to an investor or not, but I was just there to support them as an unbiased point of view that would tell them the honest truth. Like, I'm brutal. Like, I'll just say how I feel. Yeah, and I think a lot of people respect that and build a lot of trust with founders.
It's better coming from you than the potential investor.
Exactly. So now I would love to get to 100 million. Like, we're at that point, which is great.
You're pretty much almost there.
Which is great, and it's great as well. Like, a majority of that is came from Northern Irish companies as well. So there's been a lot of Northern Irish companies that I've supported. A lot of Welsh companies, Scottish founders as well. So it's a really, really good feeling. It goes back to that kind of piece, as I said, you know, just connecting. And it was actually how that, like, I was never going to do investment. Like, there was no job in Tech Nation about investment. I connected a founder to an investor, and then they did the deal. And I was like, this is epic.
This is a thing?
Like, this is amazing. Like, I want to find out more about this.
Yeah.
So I read books, done courses, talk to investors to learn what they liked, what they didn't like, and just built that kind of knowledge base.
Yeah.
Absorbed all that and just give that back to the startups.
So cool.
So it is. So like I never set out to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it, and that's where my path I would love to go. I'd love to be an investor on the other side of the table. Absolutely. And invest in the next amazing startups coming from Northern Ireland or even from Ireland as well. So
yeah, well, it makes sense. You're doing the hard yards. You're doing you're digging the roads as such. You know what I mean? You're learning the craft, and then you can be like, okay, well, let's do this from the other side now.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But love where I'm working right now. Love that I get to kind of build this network, meet these investors all across, and just bring that learning back to Northern Ireland to say there is a whole new world outside of here. You just need to go and meet people.
So cool. So you in some ways are the guy that comes in and helps a startup prepare for investment.
Yeah.
So are you the guy that I show my slide deck to?
Everything.
So you're like a Y Combinator in one brain.
I wouldn't say I'm as good as YC, but yeah, I would go in and do a bit of a deep dive and just understand everything, go through pitch decks, look at financials.
I said slide deck, I think. I was looking
that was the old school.
I was either going to say,
you're going old school?
I was going to say pitch show.
Pitch show? Oh wow.
I had it mixed up. I was like, what is it? But yeah.
That's called pitch show. That's epic. I love that. So slide deck.
Just got my Rolodex here as well.
All my business cards, let's go. So it's like doing a full deep dive of understanding where founders are and saying, right, okay, what do we need to do here? What do we need to fix?
Yeah.
Or where do you want to go? What is the next step? And a lot of the time, to be honest, investment, there's so many different vehicles. There's debt, there's not just venture capital, there's private equity, there's all these different types of investment that loads of people aren't aware of and don't even know what they are. So it's kind of saying, here's all the options. I will help you get to those options, and then I'll actually introduce you to people that can give you that money.
Yeah, cool.
So it's kind of doing that full process, which can be very time consuming.
Yeah.
And as you said, a lot of people are coming to me, so I need to be very careful in my time, and hopefully I'll be able to scale this out and create a team in TechNation where we have maybe a few versions of me doing the investment piece. So So we'll see.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, you're prototyping the job to try to replicate it as well.
Pretty much. So
Makes sense. So I think a lot of startups are obviously very, very interested in getting investment. I think that even more are almost unprepared to adapt and change to actually make themselves investable. Do you know what I mean? It's they want the investment money, but they don't want the transformation that might come with it.
Yeah.
This is an impossible question, but they're my favorite types, I suppose.
Let's do this.
What do you think is the one biggest or most common hurdle that you've identified that stops startups from getting the investment that they want?
Honesty, I think, is probably one of the biggest things for me.
Ooh. So
honesty is, I meet a lot of startups and a lot of founders that say they're the best thing at everything, right? We're incredible at X, Y, and Z. We can do everything, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Whenever you deep dive in, there's so many holes. There's so many. But they'll still believe that they can do everything. That can be a real negative whenever you go to an investor. When they do a proper deep dive on you understanding, what skill gaps or what do you need moving forward. Because, again, everyone needs a help.
Yeah.
So I think honesty is probably one of the biggest pieces, and probably linked into that is self-awareness as well. So be able to say that I can do X, Y, and Z, and that's when I know I've met a good founder. But we have these gaps. But I've identified how I'm going to fill those gaps to de-risk that opportunity.
Nice.
So when someone does that, it's wow, this person really understands what they're doing.
That's cool.
So yeah, honesty is a huge piece and goes a long way with these investors, because you will 100% get found out. And if you don't, and you got investment just by selling the dream, and that does happen, later down the line when you are going for those bigger rounds and you don't have the skill set that you said or whatever, again, you'll be very, very pushed out, or bad things can happen. So so a lot of founders here are honest, which is great. They'll say we're not good at everything. I know a lot of founders that are terrible at technical stuff, but they're really good at that commercial side. So I've identified who that technical person is. Let's bring them in. The investor goes, wow, you know what you're doing. You've de-risked it for me. let's go. So yeah, honesty and that self-awareness piece. And a lot of investors have been telling me about that as well, which I never really thought about, to be honest, because you take a lot of people at face value, especially from Northern Ireland. You trust everyone, you're friends with everyone, you know, it's like, okay, you can do this. But when you really dig deep in and there's gaps there. So that's one of the questions I always ask founders when I meet them, like, where is that skill? Like, where do you need help? Yeah. And if it's like, oh no, we can cover everything, it's like, there's a couple of flags there. Yeah. Because when you dive into maybe, oh, well, who's going to do the tech? Oh, we're not. And then, there's problems there. So self-awareness and honesty, massively.
Interesting. It'd be a really good podcast episode.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, no, definitely honesty. Because it's not really the answer that I was expecting, or maybe a lot of people would expect. So, yeah, there could be something to that. My screen keeps going black here, and every time it does, I'm panicking. I'm like, oh,
we're here. I can see ourselves.
No,
okay.
like, we're all good because I changed the settings for the battery.
So
it doesn't dim for like 2 hours. But I just plugged in, so it must be a different setting. But every time it's done it, I'm like, oh, sweet mercy. We're still going. We're all good.
Okay, we're good.
Why do you like coming to this place?
So this is like the second home. Everyone loves here. Like, it's just, it's the vibe. It's, you know, it's the community that the guys have built. You know, me coming here at the very start, I knew no one. Yeah. Walked in the door, I was like, yeah, I'm here with Tech Nation. It's like, I remember meeting Steve for the first time. He put his arm around me, and it's like, okay, you're gonna get a desk way at the back. And I was like, Steve, that's like really far away. And so,
Steve, I'm a connector. Come on, bro.
This is really far away from everyone.
Can I get a desk in the reception area?
It was actually. Remember, I was near you.
That's right.
Yeah, I was near you at the start. We used
see,
to
that's
talk.
the difference between you and me. I love being in the back.
No, see, I'd rather be at the front.
Like, can I go further? Can you extend the building slightly?
Yeah, so I remember that, and like a couple of weeks when I was like, Steve, I need to move. But I felt really bad because he was like, you know, welcome arms. But yeah, I think like the amount of people in the network that I've built in here for founders and just people visiting the space is incredible. And you've probably met some amazing people as well, just coming here, friends, you know, long life friends that you've met as well. It's amazing. So anyone I bring here from over in London or whatever, they're like, yeah, we've heard of the Bass. You know, it's the best place. You know, it is, and it is one of the best. But we have fantastic other co-working spaces around, which are phenomenal. But I think from a community side of things, the guys are just doing an incredible piece here. Yeah. And I think that's very hard to replicate. Really, you know, it's a really, really good culture I think we have in here of everybody, you know, wants to help each other. They all just want to talk to each other. It's not that kind of heads down, let's focus on things. Yes, there is time for that, and it needs to happen.
Headphones on.
Yeah, 100%, and that's fine. But like, I think it's just everyone being so open in this space. It's just incredible. So yeah, happy to call here the second home, and always will be the second home. The missus doesn't like it, but because I used to be here very late and work very late and stuff like that. But well, maybe she did, but I don't know.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite part of the building?
Favorite part of the building probably would be now in the West Wing. Yeah. So I've just said that, but I do like to come in and do the headphones and get the work done because, like, obviously my role now is across the UK, so I kind of like split my time now to say, you know, this is networking time. This is just chatting to people. Getting out there, getting coffees, whatever, and then just drill in and get stuff done. So yeah, probably downstairs. And the new funky phone booths, like they're awesome. Man, they're great, right? Yeah. And they're nice aircon as well, so it's brilliant. And probably the event space as well, to be fair. Like the event space is next to none, especially what they've done now, making it more kind of relaxed and more open. You can go in, play a bit of ping pong or whatever. Like we've done some incredible events in there. And I think it's just like the foundation of the building, you can't replicate it. Yeah. You can't replicate it. Nowhere, I wouldn't say there's a better space.
Yeah. It's good sit. It's good pitch.
That's it.
Really good. Put that in your pitch show.
We'll tell Steve. We'll put it in the pitch show for the Over Bass.
Steve's just saying, right, wait to hear this. It's the next big thing, right? You've heard of pitch decks? Forget
the pitch show.
Forget that. Everything you think you know, forget it.
That's awesome.
Final question, mate, and it's a variation we always gonna end these episodes on.
Yeah.
If you could go back, if you could turn your phone booth downstairs into a time machine.
Oh wow, yeah.
Let's do it. Go back to Gary working in Next, selling sofas.
Yeah.
And you had a couple of minutes of his time. What would you say to him?
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. So it is. I love that question. I think it's a bit of a strange one. Don't take everyone at face value.
Nice.
There is a lot of people who are nasty in this world.
Yeah.
And it's identifying them and being around good people and good friends. And that's all that matters, especially in life. So, yeah, not taking everyone for face value.
Yeah.
Massively, because I've been burnt in the past with a few people, and it's just that's maybe just me being open and trustworthy and stuff and whatever. But I think now I'm very open and aware of people that are nasty and so.
Well, that's a man spoken with experience.
That's it, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for spending this time with us. Hope you enjoyed this chat with Gary, and if you'd like to check out some of the other conversations with other great residents, other people who call this place their business home, you can do so on the webpage. Scroll up, scroll down, there's plenty there to get your teeth into. Even if you're just actually in the baths and you're just having a nosy and wanting to get to know people, so when you're at the water cooler and you want to have a wee conversation, you've got something to springboard off.
It's the best.
We know who you are, okay? We see you listening. We see you in our dashboard. We've got awesome data. But seriously, if you fancy coming to Ormo Bass, you'd like to get a free tour. If you're a solo entrepreneur, you've got a small team, or even if you've a large team looking for a private office, you can click the contact page button up there. You'll see it. You'll know what it is. And get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. And other than that, Gary, once again, thanks, bro.
Thank you, my friend.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Lots of big takeaways here.
Love it.
Golf.
Pitch shows, everything. Let's do it.